and I was like, I'll do it if you pay me, because I didn't want to be in the band. And then the EP came out and it was like pretty well received, and like I'd had a good time hanging with those dudes. So I was like, yeah, I'll still play. This is cool. And
Okay,
then
so you're a studio drummer to start out with.
I was trying to be, yeah. So I think I told him, like, give me $50 to play on fucking 5 songs.
Dude, bag secured.
Yeah, for real.
Welcome to the 120th episode of the Cast That Ends Creation. I'm your host, Chris Deering. This is the show where I interview bands and public figures from the mathcore adjacent communities. You may know my guest today from Invalids and In Angles. He's also the owner of Choke Artist. Welcome in, Joe Scala. How's it going?
Good, dude. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for asking me. This is fun.
Yeah.
I like this.
So, what are you involved in right now? What kind of projects? What do you have going on right now?
Like musically, I would say I'm in 4 active bands. I'm always like kind of fucking around and jamming with friends and trying to make stuff. But 4 bands that are like at least having an album out and like play shows regularly. Invalids, which is like a math rock band, right? Started as a computer band. Like it's literally all written on tablet, and we learn the parts from a computer. It's pretty wonky. In Angles, which is post-hardcore, progressive post-hardcore with like math rock influences and like pop punk influences. Then I'm in like 2 ska bands too. One's the best of the worst, which is ska core. If you've ever heard like the band Folly, it's almost like if like, yeah, dude. So like think like fucking mall metal breakdowns and like literally like early 2000s breakdowns. Cause like it's a band that I write the music for, and me and the people in the band, we all grew up going to hall shows with metalcore, and we all love ska punk too. So think like literally combining like From Autumn to Ashes with like Saves the Day and like a ska band too. So like something like that with horns kind of.
Oh, it's fucking dope, man. I was listening to it earlier today, actually.
Oh, thanks, dude. Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And then I sing in so those bands I all drum in, and then I sing in a ska punk band called Thirsty Guys. And that's like just
singing it, dude. Oh man, I wanted to check that one out. Dude. I didn't know you were in that one until it was right before we started this one. I also would have checked it out.
Oh, hell yeah.
B Dowdy in chat says, Joe, just want to reinforce that Invalids absolutely rips, and it fucking does. I don't know how the hell you keep up with the drums, the way the drums are on that EP. It's fucking insane. You were just in it for the EP, right? That's all you've done with them so far, right?
Yeah. So up until that point, it was all programmed drums. And then that EP Fulfillment was the first thing with like the live band lineup recording, because it's music that Pete Davis writes all, like I was saying, on the computer. Right. There's a new LP coming out with like the spring this year, and that's fucking 10 songs instead of 5. And it's like it was so much. I was telling you before we started, but it was like 1 song a month. Like literally I would sit at a drum pad and behind a kit, like just watching TV with the subtitles on and just like learning the songs. But it like most songs took 12 to 18 hours to learn. Let's say like another like 6 to record. So it was fucked up.
That's insanely impressive with how like technical that was. At least the EP was really technical. I'm sure it's carrying on into the album. Have you announced that album yet, or did you just announce it here live?
That's a Cast That Ends Creation exclusive,
baby.
Right,
you guys heard it here first.
Yeah.
We also got Ignis Farster in chat that is stoked on the new In Angles album. It is fucking dope. It is dope.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Josh. Hell yeah.
So let's get back to the beginning. How did you get into music? What made you want to start making music?
Probably in like 4th grade, like the Blink-182 Mark, Tom, and Travis show live album here in Travis Barker. I always liked music. My parents like listening to a lot of disco. My mom took me to see Aerosmith in 2nd grade. You know, fucking rock and roll.
Nice.
But yeah, like I got into like alternative and punk music, like when I was like 9 or something, and would always like buy CDs whenever I could. And then,
well, that was my next question was, what was the first album that you bought?
If we're not counting like Weird Al, Alapalooza in the 2nd grade, or like Big Willie style, then I think, remember the band Lit, My Own Worst Enemy?
I've heard the name before. I don't know if I've ever listened to them.
It's like 90s alternative.
Probably heard it on the radio or something. It sounds
dude,
like
please tell me why.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I totally know what you're talking about.
Yeah, dude. that made me just love songs about like being a fuck up. That was like the core of music of that time. It was like, I'm a fuck up, but maybe the girl will still like me, you know, and like movies too. But like that got me hooked into like counterculture, underdog, alternative music, and then you know, just having friends get into metalcore and ska and shit. So
And what was the first? Oh, I guess the first concert you attended was Aerosmith, right?
yeah.
What about the first like scene concert?
So there was an all ages venue in New Jersey called Birch Hill. It's not there anymore. Most venues aren't there, period. But it was a ska show. It was like Catch 22, Big D and the Kids Table, Mustard Plug. This band Folly, which dude, if you haven't heard Folly, they're like fucking like I don't want to say Dillinger because like you can probably think of a better mathcore band, but it's like breakdowns, like angular shit, and then ska, and like then like Champion-esque punk hardcore, like melodic hardcore, but they're that was the first show I ever went to. Yeah.
Can I be honest with you? I haven't heard ska music until I started looking into you. And your bands are the first ska bands I've listened to. They're fucking dope. I'm really into that. I gotta find more stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely check out Folly because it's like a metal, it's a hardcore album for sure. But then there's like ska parts sprinkled in, but like it's really good shit. Yeah.
So when did you start getting into bands?
So I think once I started listening, like once I got a drum set when I was like 9 and was listening to a lot of Blink-182 and I just kept bugging my friends like, hey, let's start a band. Hey, let's start a band. So I think so that Blink album's a live album too. So like they just all seem so cool to me because they're like telling dick jokes in between tracks. So I like kept bugging my one friend. He his parents had a guitar. We played a coffee house in the 6th grade, dude. Brain Stew by Green Day. Do you know that song? Dan it. It was in the Godzilla.
I probably know, but I don't really remember.
Yeah, it's like alternative punk, but it's bullshit. He played without a guitar strap, sitting down with the mic going to him, all clean because we didn't know what distortion was. It was rough. And then we started like a pop punk band after.
Did you make any money at the coffee shop?
No, it was like a middle school thing. I spray painted my hair green, dude. My parents drove me. I was like 11 or 12.
Painted your hair green.
Yeah, we wanted to be, dude, because like that was like punk at the time. It was like we were sold this idea of punk rock that was like, look at us, kid. Like we got spiked hair, you know, like Green Day and fucking like Good Charlotte and stuff. Like I thought that stuff was so cool. And now like I'm older, I'm like, you know.
Yeah, I had my punk phase at a time too. Was really into like more of like the hardcore punk type of stuff, more like Dead Kennedys, that type of shit, man.
Hell yeah! Well, now I can appreciate that. I think that stuff has more staying power over time because it's like at least relevant, like more relevant politically, and like it's at least grittier and like I don't know. I can listen to that shit, especially like never getting into it. I can be like, this is kind of cool. I get it. And it's like fast and aggressive.
Yeah. No, like NoFX is a great one too, man. Like
yeah,
dude.
NoFX rocks.
So when did you start like taking being a musician seriously? I would assume it's Best of the Worst when you started that one, or I don't know if you started it, but when you were in it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always wanted to do bands, and I don't know if I've ever taken any of them seriously enough. So I just want to put out albums and like play music with my friends and tour. I don't know if I ever saw any of this as like career. It'd be cool, sure. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it kind of seems like you have a career starting at least. Like,
yeah, but dude, it seemed like that for 7 years. I can't keep getting my hopes up, you know. So I have a job. Like I'm a teacher. I'm a music teacher during the day.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then after school, I like, you know, I rock out, blow off some steam, you know.
So like you're like a middle school teacher, or what do you teach exactly?
Elementary school.
Elementary school. Okay, so they don't even really have instruments at that point. It's more like a choir kind of thing, or
no? They play. We do instrumental, so violin, flute, clarinet, saxophone. Yeah,
really? Wow.
4th grade for band, and then like all the string instruments they can start in 3rd grade. So they get pretty good in 2 or 3 years. They get good, dude. Like they get better than me.
I remember back when I was going to school, you didn't get an instrument until you were in 6th grade. I chose trumpet, and I was terrible at it.
Yeah. Back in the day, it used to be you have to wait a little bit, but we start them pretty young. Actually, a kid today, I have like a YouTube channel that I'll post covers or like songs on, and I wrote a punk song it's on my YouTube and I curse in it. And a kid in my class today was like, I found your YouTube. You say the F word in it. You should take that down. And I was like, you're probably right. Like, don't tell anyone else about it, please.
Well, I was going to ask, do your kids know who you are? So I guess they do to some extent.
I used to tell, because I'll like help out at our high school sometimes with like drumline shit. I used to not tell them because I feel weird plugging my band to a kid, but I would show my fifth graders like YouTube videos of me, and then they would like be smart enough to search my name and then like kind of find it. But I don't know. I don't have the best internet track record as far as like they could probably find something kind of, I don't know. I don't want to get fired.
I gotcha. But they don't know like Invalids or any other stuff.
They've seen videos. I don't think they're so young that it's like even them understanding like what a band is. Like they know what like Bruno Mars is, but like wait, you play in a band, but you're not on TV. Like, oh, you have 3,000 views. Are you famous? Like they don't, there's like a, they're figuring out the world still.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess as far as taking stuff seriously, it's honestly still, and I'm not trying to sound like anything, but it's honestly still something like I take doing band seriously. It's all I do. But like, that's literally all I've ever thought about, like since I was in high school. Like, so I guess the best of the worst would be the best answer. Cause that was the first band where it was like, let's record an album. Let's fucking tour. Let's try to play with the bands we look up to and just have fun,
Hell yeah. How'd you get all that stuff together? Were you like a founding member or?
Yeah, it's through marching band. And
oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was like a good metalcore scene in our town. So we were all going to VFW hall shows and stuff, like in our area of Jersey. And then I played in a metalcore band at the time, Marlo Nisha, that like, we were at the VFWs, like playing good shows and stuff. So like we wanted to, and we all love ska too, like me and the best of the worst members. So we were just like, fuck it, let's start a band and play breakdowns, but also ska.
Hell yeah, dude. That's fucking sick.
Thanks,
Lefty Zach, I guess he's a teacher too. He teaches high school jazz band. Says, Joe, for real, I played them Invalids at lunch. Ha ha ha. So,
dude, that's sick.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome, man.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, it's like, because it is kind of jazz, I guess, is melodic. I don't know. Like the jazz guy could probably explain it better, but it's like, there's like a meme.
Your drums are super jazzy. Yeah, it's like really fucking wild stuff.
And like, there's a meme like math rock is just emo jazz, which like kind of is true to some extent. Yeah, so that's awesome. Thank you.
That's just true to some extent. It's 100% true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after that, you ended up joining Marlanisha?
So that was before Best of the Worst, but that's been like
an on and off. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, I was in like I was 13 when we started that band, but we were playing with like we were like 14, 15, eventually playing with like the 22-year-old bands, like, and I'm not bragging.
Into the big boys, I gotcha.
Yeah, like co-headlining the VFW shows. I think like a Day to Remember's label at the time, Indianola Records, like emailed us, like, so like they wanted to hear demos, and then there was another label that we only did like 2 EPs, neither were to a click track. Like we were good, but like I should have played to a click and we should have been a little better to get signed, I think. But there's one label that wanted to sign us, Audio Deprived. It was some like upstate New York shit, but they had distro in like Best Buy, and we always thought it was so cool. But then I remember I was talking to the guy online, and he was like, "So when can you start touring?" And I was like, "We got to finish school. We're in high school." And then he was like, "How old are you?" And I told him I was like 15 or 16. And then he stopped talking to me and started talking to our older member. Probably thought it was illegal. But,
yeah, maybe.
But yeah,
so I guess you never did sign with him then.
No, honestly, like it's funny. None of the bands I'm in, now it's a little different, but like up until like 2 years ago, none of the bands I'm in were ever on any label ever. And like, I'm in the bands. I like believe in the music to some extent, like at least that it's like different or whatever. So like that would kind of prompted starting Choke Artist in some ways.
Well, yeah. So I was going to bring that up. There doesn't seem to be a lot of labels that are championing math rock. Like I can't really think of any, honestly. So, yeah, it's really cool that you were able to just get started with Choke Artist. Before we get into Choke Artist, I just want to finish going through your bands real quick, just to set a nice background for people.
Yeah.
So, In Angles started in 2014, right?
Yeah.
Hey, got one of the dates. So, how'd you end up getting that stuff together?
So those guys I knew from playing in Marlow. Like they played in like post-hardcore bands and shit too. So they asked me if I would drum on their EP, and I was like, they asked me and the bassist of Marlo Nisha at the time. It was the two guitarists of this other local band. And I was like, I'll do it if you pay me, because I didn't want to be in the band. And then the EP came out and it was like pretty well received. And like I had a good time hanging with those dudes. So I was like, yeah, I'll still play. This is cool. And
Okay,
then
so you're a studio drummer to start out with.
I was trying to be, yeah. Like, so I think I told him like, give me $50 to play on fucking 5 songs.
Dude, bag secured.
Yeah, for real, dude. Yeah. So that's how that band started. And the bassist was a guy like, a lot of us, I'm still in New Brunswick. I'm like a little bit outside of New Brunswick, New Jersey. It's like a college town. So we were running basement shows, and all of our bands played together. So we had a good like community and a good scene of people that were like down with the similar types of music at that time.
Oh, that's sick. That's cool that you could be around people and physically, like I can't even think of anybody who listens to the same music. Well, there's a couple of people that listen to the same music I do, but it's kind of sparse around here. That's cool.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm grateful for that, man. It was really cool. And it was like 2009, 2010 when we were doing like basement shows. I mean, really from like 2009 to like 14 or whatever, but like coming out of high school, going to community college and like having all those people, like we're all like, yo, have you heard Taramellos or like This Town Needs Guns or like Veil of Maya, dude, like all that shit. Like, so it was cool. I'm like definitely stoked that I had that experience.
That's fucking sick. So you joined Invalids in 2015, and I guess he just decided he was sick of doing programming all this shit himself and wanted to get real people involved.
So I had like a resolution to do 1 drum cover a week, and I didn't do it. I did maybe like 6, but the 7th one was like an Invalid song. I knew Pete lived in New Jersey. I liked the band. So I was like, I wonder if I cover a song, if I could one day convince this guy to like jam and like maybe we could play shows, So I did one on electric drums. It was like a 6-minute song. No, I had no sheet music, no tabs. I did it by ear. Like I'm literally like, there's a really intricate cymbal and hi-hat part. It's for the song, It's a Pipe Bomb Jabriath, for any people that know Invalids. There's like some real wacky shit. Cause again, he's just typing zeros and ones into the computer. So he's like, oh, this sounds cool. But then I'm like trying to learn it and it's like fucked up.
Get all tangled up and shit.
Yeah, seriously. So like, it really, you have to like open up your stickings as a drummer. So I learned it by ear, literally by like sitting in front of the speaker, like just starting it over and starting it over, especially this one section of it. I had to like turn the treble all the way up so I could hear like the cymbals and all that. So I do this cover and then he's like, cool, do this one and maybe we could start playing. So then I did a second one like 4 months later. Nice. And we all started kind of getting together.
Did you charge him $50 as well?
No, I should have.
Insane Freak in chat says, hey Joe, sick podcast, glad I could find his channel. Ask him about the issues with cascading home and in angles.
Jesus Christ. Fuck. God damn it. I just went on a podcast. Oh, it was with Insane Freak. It was with the same dude. Yeah. We brought it up, but that's one of the fault leg spine angles that we just didn't like it after. We learned a lot about like how to be a band after that, I think, and we're a lot better now. But it was a lot of like, it's a very opinionated band and it's like very like best idea wins, which is cool. It's like, it's four dudes and it's like, all right, what's the best thing to do? Like, and like, why? So like, it's cool. But then like when you get into the process of like recording and notes and shit, it like got like a lot of like back and forth. We were working with an engineer that we weren't vibing with. Then we went back to our old guy. And then like, at that point we lost the steam about like being excited about the songs. Excuse me. We were told that we were going to be on like the cover of Alternative Press.
Really?
we were never, but like someone very optimistically was like, we're going to like try to make you guys a very big band. And it's not even like a knock to that person. It's just like the album wasn't good. And like, we didn't want to tour because we had jobs, So it was just like, it was a nice reality check for us, I can say.
So why did you put it out then if you didn't like it?
And the label, it was already being promoted. It was like this whole thing. And like, at that time we were like, this is the best it's going to be. Let's get it out. And then like got fucking roasted a lot. No, I mean, some people still like Insane Freak, shout out, told me that it's their favorite album by an angle. So some people still like it.
Yeah. He said in here, despite that, it's an amazing album still.
Thank you. It's very nice. So, it just, we kind of, I don't know. We got gassed up too much. We gassed ourselves up. We learned a lot,
So you're involved in one other project, Thirsty Guys. So
yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So the best of the worst is like our ska core band. And me and two of the other members made this ska punk band, Thirsty Guys. It started with like my roommate Cheech, who plays in the best of the worst. He sent me a demo and he was like, dude, check this out. Check out the song I wrote. And it was like very cool. It was, I love ska. I can show you my ska tattoo.
I saw that in a picture online.
Okay, sick. But I was like, yo, let me write to this. And I was like delivering bread at the time. So I just listened to it on a loop and like wrote lyrics. And then we recorded it. We sent it to our friend Mike, who runs a ska label that's like very like relevant to like there's a whole new wave of ska. Like you have all those fucking old dudes and all the old bands, right? Like Less Than Jake, Real Big, and it's like ska has been associated with their name for the longest time, but in the past like 2 to 3 years, like there's like this new wave of ska, punk, whatever you want to call it. And our friend Mike runs a label called Bad Time Records, and like he volunteered to put that record out. And then after that, it was like, well, we got to play shows and like try to be like some kind of band. So yeah, okay. So it's fun. It's fun. I sing and I play keys. I literally like, dude, it's like almost professional wrestling. Like I fucking jump on my keyboard, I kick it and shit. Like I have a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man. You think of a ska band and you think like, and no disrespect, but like nerds. Like you think like shit. You think of like how they'd be portrayed like as a joke, and it's like we wanted to bring like grit, like almost like Kid Dynamite, No Effects, like melodic punk and like the ska punk that we like, and like we try to do shit like that,
Yeah. You did talk about how you got members from the best of the worst from your marching band, so I think the nerds thing kind of sticks.
We're trying to shake it. We're trying to shake that we're actually cool, We're not cool.
So why call your label Choke Artist Records? So why start a label to begin with? How about we start with that? Why start a label to begin with?
I guess going back to what I was talking about with that basement scene that we had, and like the band I was playing in Marlo Nisha was, this is like 6 years after the VFW days. Marlo broke up after that like metalcore boom, and that kind of reformed as like a progressive, almost like Russian circles with like math rock type thing. And like we were doing well, and like we had this but like community of people. So I started putting out CDs. I always kind of wanted to do some kind of label. I had no idea how to do any of it. I'm getting better every fucking like month. I'm like learning more, but I've always been like very rooted in DIY. Like with the best of the worst, when we were touring, I would book the tours DIY. Like we got to see like DIY scenes and like people doing it themselves, booking tours, putting out records, So I've kind of like always had this like punk ethos, like fuck it, like don't wait for someone to come do anything. In high school, it was always like, how do I get my band signed? How do I get my band signed? Like, what do I do? Like, I would literally check record labels and like click like contact form. Like, I don't know if I needed the validation, but I think it was more like, I want to do this for my living. I want to do this as my job.
Right. Like you think that you have to get signed in order to like make a living or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. And that's changed a lot in the past 10 years. You can be self-sufficient, and like, don't get me wrong, labels can still help a lot. And like, even the projects I'm in, if we ever got a good enough record label offer, we would probably take it. It's just like, we stopped trying to like do that. And like, we just want to do bands at our own pace, I guess. But we started doing Choke Artists 2012 with like CDs and shows and stuff. Like we would just run shows. I've always kind of run shows too, just from booking DIY tours and all that. So kind of just all went hand in hand with like a all-in-one, I guess, package. And then eventually we started doing vinyl. So that's kind of, I think, what elevated it to a new thing where it wasn't like no one gives a shit about CDs, right? Like,
I actually was reading an article that said CD sales went up like 1.1% last year or some shit. So maybe they're starting to come back. I don't fucking know, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed less now, but I did enjoy like opening a CD, reading the liner notes, listening to an album, like seeing who the band thanks, like when there was like no internet or like very limited internet.
Oh yeah, that's how you would find other bands, is who they thanked.
Yeah. So that's good. Shout out CDs. Everyone go buy some CDs.
Lefty Zach says, in this day and age, do you think a band can be viable without touring, just having an online presence and playing locally?
Yeah. Because if like a TikToker can do it, like why couldn't that band, you know?
Right.
As far as like being some kind of viable job. Yeah, do you have to sacrifice integrity at some point to be like super online? I do. Like personally, me, whenever I try to post too much, I like feel like I'm not happy. I'm on my phone too much. So anything's possible. Like there's literally like no rules for anything anymore, I don't think.
Right. And it takes a lot of dedication to like be what do you call it? Just being like online and being a successful band. Like, and you have to have a lot of luck too. Like, you know, like there's a lot of people that they can't do it.
There's so much good music out there, you know. It's just you have to just keep making it for an extended amount of time.
Right.
You know, you might not get discovered until like 4 albums in, you know. It's hard. There's like an oversaturation now, which is cool because there's a lot of music, but it's harder, I guess, for people to stick out or like, you know, get noticed.
So what do you find is the best medium for like selling stuff? Would it be CDs, vinyl, or I don't know if you do merch, but I'm pretty sure you do, right?
Yeah.
What would be the best? What's the best thing for you?
I feel like vinyl has been the most consistently. If you're stoked on a band and you want a piece of like tangible media to represent it, and you like listening to it, vinyl has been what has sold the most for me in the past 5 to 6 years.
Right.
We sell like choke artist hats. Those sell pretty well too. Like people that want to like rep the label or whatever. Band tees go too. Band tees sell. I'm always thinking of like new ideas for merch, but it's kind of, I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard to come up with ideas.
What do you do? Yeah, I don't know. So
what do you look for in a potential band?
I don't know. I have to like it.
I'm sure you've turned some other bands down that would fit on here, right? So like, why would you turn them down?
I think about and this is more when I've shifted my mindset about doing choke artists in the past year or two. Honestly, it's been from seeing a lot of newer DIY labels do it better than me, but like I think I was too much thinking in the past, like if I put out this record, what could it do for the label? And it wasn't like what could it do for me financially? It was just like, yeah, this could give my label more exposure and then, you know, give all the bands that I love. Because in my head, I'm like, all these bands that I work with deserve to be very well known, you know, or more well known. So I'm like, if you find one, you're of course going to see this choke artist logo and like find all these other bands because that's what I would do. But like, I used to think more like that, like what could putting this record out do? And now I think more like, what could I do for this band putting out their record? How can I really help make it more special? Is there a core of people that follow choke artists now? I think it's some. I would argue that it's like less than 100 people that are like 50 people that are super dedicated to everything. But I'm like stoked that there's some people that are like, yo, I like some of the shit this label puts out. I'm going to like keep my ear peeled to it and see what this guy puts out. So I still, when I look at a band, I just see like, I still am old fashioned. Like, can they tour? If this went up for pre-order, could I help it sell at least 50 records or like 60 records? Because it's a lot of money doing vinyl, dude. You're doing vinyl now.
Well, I mean, if you're just trying to sell 50 or 60 records, like that doesn't even pay you back yet.
No, but it's at least if you can do 50 or 60 in pre-orders, then that means like over time, there's enough hype. Your music's, you know, I don't want to say good enough, but like people will find your album, then we can move like another 40 or 50 over like a year or two, you know?
Okay.
So you're doing vinyl now, right?
Yeah.
How's it's taken forever, right?
Yeah.
That's everyone, dude.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like 8 months after I ordered.
Yeah.
Something like that. 8 to 10 months or something after I ordered. It should be in February.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's not too far away.
Let's see here in the chat. Insane Freak says choke artist booty shorts win. Feet Freak says biggest heads get signed. I'm not really sure what that means, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's a good theory where you can look at a picture of the band and you could see how big their heads are in the picture. And then the bigger their heads, the more records they sell. It's worked. It works because they make more intricate music and then people will gravitate to it.
What?
No, straight up. Big heads. If you have a big head, contact me, please.
Let's see here. What about a choke artist choker?
I mean, who's wearing that though?
That's
Like
some,
cyber
that's some
goth?
stuff right there.
Yeah.
Maybe like choke artist record socks. Maybe you could show me your feet and I could use them as okay, as a telephone mock. Okay.
I'm not showing my feet. I'm not showing my feet to
Why his name
that
is Feet.
disgusting
Okay,
person.
okay, that was different.
It's okay. It's very flattering.
So what's it like running a label? Like what's the day-to-day stuff?
Lately I've been in a good groove of getting shit, being like somewhat proactive, where like I have a set mail order day where it'll be me and one of my roommates, Ernie, or like my girlfriend Caitlin. Like we'll pack records like for the week. So I'm getting like anywhere between, I would say, 8 to 25 orders. Oh, 8 to 20. You know, especially when nothing new is out, it's like 8 to 20, pretty steady through like,
That's
I
good.
have like it's not bad. There's a lot of records I put out, and half of it's through Bandcamp. Like I can list vinyl on the Bandcamp. So there's not as many people going to the store as I'd like. I would like it to be more people like just going to the joke artist store, but it's still working. Records are still moving pretty okay.
Right.
So we spend like 2 to 3 hours doing however many orders for that week. Sometimes it's an hour, you know, it really depends. Email shit if I have to, like I'm booking some tours now and I'm sending 2 records out. So just like been following up with that, like texting and shit. And I guess that's really it. Like, listening to music, I don't know if that counts as like fucking like work doing labels.
I guess it's part of it. Yeah, trying to
I'm
being your A&R.
Yeah. But that's really it. Like there's a mail order day. There should be a social media post day, and I've like tried to do 2 posts a week. I've tried to do 1. I don't know if I can do anything. Like I just post when I can think of something or like want to plug something, but I'm not you know, and it's okay. I'm fine not being it, but I have a hard time like making content. The camera on my phone was broken for 5 months. It was literally wobbly, so I couldn't like make posts. I had my roommate or my girlfriend take pictures. I don't know. I'd like to think I try to make 1 post a week. It used to be spend 3 hours a week doing the podcast too, which there's a Choke Artist podcast that was like semi-regularly done, and it still will be semi-regularly done. I think it's going to be for me more like just when I want to do it, which is the worst way to do a podcast. Like, oh, this guy's talking again. But if there's a cool guest or an album being released, like I'll probably do it still. But I give you a lot of credit. I was saying this before, but for doing this so consistently, like it's a big task that I think people don't realize.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it takes up a good amount of time.
No, it's almost like another band, like as far as like the time, you know?
Right. No, yeah, it takes a while to get here. I think it's like, I don't know, at least 3 hours an episode, probably something like that. And then it's like listening to the bands and stuff before time and such, you know?
Yeah. Making clips, doing all the clips and stuff, posting, try like, especially like I play in bands that are on Choke Artists. So it's like I'll post from the band, post from Choke Artists, post from the personal, Twitter, Instagram. By the time I get to Facebook, I'm like, I don't fucking care. Find it or don't. I don't have it in me to post this on Facebook and get like 6 interactions. Like it's hard, dude. Facebook sucks. Facebook fucking got ruined, man.
Have you ever thought of getting an assistant?
I don't know. I
feel like it's like your next thing is like getting someone to help you out because you got a lot of shit going on.
It could be cool, honestly. Even just someone to like help guide the social media posts and like the sales and stuff. It would probably help. Like I don't know why, but like I was very anti-sales for a while. Like I'm not putting anything on sale. Like everything was really cheap for a while. I was selling record LPs for $13.
Oh Jesus!
And that was like 2013. It was the band Feral Lux, which they're a sick mathy post.
Oh yeah, they're fucking dope.
Yeah, we put out their first LP, and I was like, yeah, 13's good. And like, yeah, we just have to sell 200 to break even, shit like that. So now it got bumped to 16, and now I've been doing 20, and like it hasn't affected anyone. No one's complained. But I forgot the point I was making, but I guess it's like kind of viable now where I can like pay someone to help a little bit. Like there's at least some money being made, or someone might just want to help.
Right.
If my girlfriend has offered many times. I think the problem is too, I'm a control freak. I'm like,
well, I mean, if they've run the social media, like, do you care what they say on there, really?
I don't think I really do. No, I don't know. So the point I was making, sorry, is like sales. Like I did a sale for a record, and it sold like at least like 12 recently. I put like the most LP on sale for a day. Like this is on sale for one day for $10. You're fucking up if you don't own this record. And like it moved a bunch, and I was like, oh, I should like try to market this music, right? But it just feels gross sometimes. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't think it's gross at all, man.
Yeah, I have this like I have this like conundrum where I'm like, I think I'm too punk or like too cool to like give a shit. So I don't know.
Nah, fuck that shit, dude. You gotta make some money or something, right? Like, you don't want to get like some shitty job at like a grocery store or some shit. Like, I guess you're a fucking teacher, so you won't get something like that. But like, you know what I mean? Like, this is your dream, right? Make a living doing your dream. That'd be fucking sick.
I'm trying to, and especially at least for a service to the bands I work with, I'm trying to do them more right now.
Hell yeah. Especially because you're getting like bigger bands on and stuff too. Like Snooze is a big one. Yeah, you got a couple ones coming. Invalids is the big band, so there's that too.
Floral is like a top seller for sure.
Right.
We did the Standards first EP. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, there's been a ton of stuff that's all done like pretty solid, but
hell yeah.
I'm just like, I'm happy that I could like just help out and like do this shit. And it's like cool to bring more people in that are down with it, so it's going okay. It's been a slow growth, I'd say.
Insane Freak says that he'll do your social media for you to hit him up.
What a nice guy.
So are you cool with like your bands screaming? Because it seems like most of your bands don't scream.
Yeah, the best of the worst screams. You just might have not got to a track, but there's like some punk hardcore shit.
Okay.
All screaming. In Angles, they're screaming on the new record too. It might be like a little less, but there's still some screaming. Invalids.
You want it mostly clean though.
I like whatever's cool. I think for them too, they think more in a singer's voice and they're like, well, this part needs a scream, so now we'll do it. But I think for an Angles, maybe screaming isn't their default because they can both sing. So if it fits the music, they'll scream. But I think they do tend to sing more. In Invalids, Pete used to scream on the old stuff, and on the new stuff, he screams again. And it's fun. It kind of gives it like a scramsy, like it just like kind of amplifies everything.
So what's like the heaviest you're willing to go like for a band on your label?
Oh, I don't give a shit. If it's cool, it's cool. As far as like, all the stuff I was saying before about like putting out a record that I think I can help elevate. I do think I kind of got pigeonholed into math rock a little bit.
You absolutely did, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've done some punk hardcore at 7 Inches too. There's this band Sick Shit from Jersey. They were like power violence, like punk hardcore, and this band Gel. They were like a metally hardcore band, like a dark metal band or whatever. So we've done some stuff like that. I think the problem is that now my network, right? But like the bands I worked with, it's like this circle of math rock bands, and now trying to kind of branch out, which I am trying to do. I'm trying to work with some bands that are not by the book math rock that can kind of help, where like if you like post-hardcore or metalcore, you might like this math rock album or this shit. But I don't know. It's it definitely, now that there's like some kind of core who's like into math rock or whatever, it's like I want to like make sure they hear shit that they like, but it's also like I want to, if they're open-minded, which chances are if you like
slowly open it up more and more.
Yeah, for sure.
I got you. I know some bands actually you might want to get into contact with that would probably fit you well.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. For sure.
So yeah, why call the label Choke Artist? Like, it doesn't really make sense, I guess. I don't know. Where did that come from?
It's a great question. I was definitely just in county college doodling in a book, ripping edibles before class, and like just being like, yeah, let's call it's a record label, but it doesn't have records at the end. That's like a great way, right, to market something. It just fucking confuses people, dude. People have no idea. And
I meant more the choking part, and like your logo is like a guy or like a C getting choked.
Yeah. I think also like kind of, it's funny going back into like how I like grew up on like underdog shit, like being a fuck up, but like it's okay. It kind of fits like that, like self-deprecating shit. But I don't know. It should have been called something else probably, but I thought it was like a cool name I also like used to have this stupid idea that it was like a collective, which I don't even know what that means, but I was like, oh, it's not a label. Like me, like my fucking galaxy brain being like, whatever, trying to like break the mold, but it's definitely a record label. Choke Artist Records, I don't know. Feels too greasy to me. Feels like I'm nickel and diming people.
Okay, well, I was more wondering about like the choking part, but I guess you don't really have an answer for that. You just thought it was
No,
cool.
I just thought it sounded cool because like I wanted something with like artist in it or like something that didn't say records, you know?
Uh-huh.
So then it was just choke artist and then it just stuck. My friend drew the label and now that's what it is. And now when people, if any press ever covers me and says choke artist records, I make fun of them publicly. So that's how I've been handling it.
Wait, what? You made fun of like people covering you?
Like, no, I'll just like usually screenshot it and play like the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme song or something. Like on an Instagram, just having fun
Okay,
online.
okay, okay.
That's all harmless.
Thomas James McMaster says, "Would you ever start an imprint for other kinds of music not associated with math?"
So imprint is just like another branch of your label, right? Like
Yeah,
using
yeah,
the utilities of your label.
yeah.
It's
Kind of
not
like how Zegama Beach has like Toon Tree Records and Off Seed
yes.
and stuff. So something like that.
Yeah. Also, that dude's a fucking legend.
Oh yeah, he's
David
crazy.
Screamo shit. That's so awesome. It was. I checked out the last episode with him. It was really cool. But I don't know. I would probably try to blanket it all under choke artist and hope that it sticks. There is like a weird thing now because I did the last Best of the Worst LP, which is Scala Core. I did it as a co-release with Bad Time Records. So now there's like a pocket of ska people that follow me, and then they probably see the shit I'm posting like, this isn't ska. What is this? But I think that's cool. You should be open-minded to music. You never want to pigeonhole into one genre. So I would probably try to keep it all a choke artist.
I feel like math rock's not that far away from ska. I guess it is now that I'm thinking about it, but I don't know. I feel like all your stuff has kind of like a similar tone to it. You know, like more light and more like fun type of stuff.
Yeah, I like fun shit. I like heavy stuff too. I just think like for heavy music, there's already so many great labels doing it.
Yeah.
Where math rock, I feel like is, I don't want to say undiscovered, but it's like for math rock for a long time, it was just like, oh, so you're waiting to get signed to Top Shelf Records. Like everyone's just, that's like the light at the end of the tunnel. You get signed to Top Shelf, you're on the same label as fucking Toe, Drafts, all these sick Enemies, Rooftops, all these sick bands that like helped define the genre from like 2010 on or whatever. But it's like, you know, they're a real record label. It's not even a knock to them, but it's like sometimes the deals they offer, like they need to get paid too, where it's like, for me, when I sign a band, right, and I put it in quotes, I don't take any of the money digitally. I don't take any digital revenue. We just like do a percentage on vinyl where I take a percentage and I do merch. So it's like, it's not even super viable as a business. It is kind of at least breaking even most of the time now, but it's, I don't know. I feel like I wasn't offering enough for a band to take their money digitally. So I wasn't, I was just doing like maybe down the line, if like it's a well-oiled machine, I'd be like, yeah, give me like 5% of the Spotify royalties on this album. And that's, that's $20 a month or whatever. And that adds up to something.
Right.
But yeah, I guess
no, I like your approach more about like, taking a percentage of like merchandise sales and stuff like that. I think that's really like it's more fair. You know what I mean? If I was getting signed by a label, that's something that I would be trying to look for.
It's like I didn't write the music. So what the fuck do I have any business taking money in the music? That being said, the music industry is like eating shit like badly, where it's like to be a record label, most take some kind of digital cut, Yeah,
so. That's true. That's true. A lot of the bigger ones definitely do.
Yeah, but it's at their level, it's worth it because they'll put you on these tours.
Right, and they're good at like getting your name out and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's tricky.
You ever think about hooking up with like a publicist or anything like that? Someone that can get your band on blogs and things?
I don't know. Some have emailed me and they had like good resumes, and I was like, I don't know. I've done records where bands have paid a publicist like $1,000 and they paid for it. I was like, dude, like if you want to do this, go for it. I'm a big believer in like organic growth, like having a solid core of fans and listeners. Because at the end of the day, you see fucking 20 headlines from Revolver a week or whatever, or anything. But it's just like, to me, press sometimes feels like, oh, look, it's almost like a trophy on a band shelf. Like, ooh, look, we were on this.
Right.
Yeah, I think the best press is when you earn it. You have a general buzz around your band, and then the press comes to you. They're like, what the fuck is up with this band? Everyone's talking about it. Like, we should cover them to get clicks to our site. But when you're paying to be featured, it's almost like, I don't know. It seems kind of backwards to me. You know, the press should be reporting on what's relevant and happening. They shouldn't be reporting on what a label paid them $200 to report about, you know?
Right. Or like the new Metallica song or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, something stupid.
You know, but it's also like, is there a new Metallica song?
I don't fucking know. I'm just like, they only talk about these old bands and like, you know.
Everyone's scrambling to be relevant. You know, it's really hard. And it's like, don't get me wrong. There's definitely labels that work with fucking amazing bands and they'll pay a publicist and it still works great because everyone fucking loves the band. Mm-hmm. You know, there still is that option. It's like, there's no right or wrong way to do anything. But like for me, like, I don't even want to say ethically, but like just what I believe is like, you don't need to do that shit a lot of the time, you know?
Right. No, I got you, man. Sometimes that kind of stuff can be, not worth like the effort of like paying someone, and so like it seems like it's cool, oh, you're in like this big blog or whatever, but then nothing really comes of it, you know?
Yeah, you get some traffic, I guess, but like, dude, also like I'm just a guy with a fucking day job, so what do I know?
Well, no, like I mean, you know, I make music and stuff. One of my singles was actually premiered on Revolver, and it didn't do anything really, like.
You tried.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm just saying that like I've been there, and like if you don't have someone that is really good at getting your stuff out in the front, then it's not really worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely because there's so many people out there, dude. There's so many people trying to get paid. There's so many artists trying to get heard. It's like it's really tricky. So yeah, I had no idea that I wasn't even saying Revolver like as a fuck you. I just had.
No, not at all, man. That's like the one of like the big ones that people go for. So you know, like, that's probably what came to your mind. So what's in the future for Choke Artist?
So last year there was like maybe 2 releases. It was pretty slow with COVID, and I think with learning Invalids and in angles, like recording in angles. So we didn't put a lot out. This year there's going to be at least like 6 or 7 releases.
Jesus Christ, that's
possibly more. Yeah, and I'm scrambling because it's like plants are so fucked that it all has to get in by April. So like there's some represses too. So hopefully the turnaround time's faster for represses because the plates are already made for the record. I
don't know if it's the plates so much. Like I'm getting my shit pressed right, and the plant literally told me they were out of the color blue. Like in November, and they just got it in.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
And you had pre-orders. And you had pre-orders, and people paid to have a blue record, right? Or
yeah. That's so weird, but
it's a mess. Supply chains fucked. Yeah, it's like there's so many things, but hopefully those represses are a little faster. Oh man, now I'm nervous.
But yeah, so you got the new In Angles album coming out. That was announced already. And when's that coming out?
February 22nd.
Okay, awesome, man. And I don't know if you said it on here, so I don't want to say it. But did you have anything else coming up that you wanted to mention?
Yeah. So we're doing a pressing of the first 2 bobbing albums. So check that out. The guy was in Feed Me Jack. It's like electronic. It's really cool, like experimental music. And then new Invalids LP. Yeah, that's
what you did mention it on here. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, but yeah. I'm fucking hyped for that one.
Dude, thank you. It's I like it a lot, honestly. I think it's more fun. I like it's more fun music. Where Fulfillment to me, I listen to it and I'm like, this sounds like work. Like it sounds like my brain has to do work to listen. The new shit I can like listen to. I'm like, no, this is it's fun. It's still work, but it's like fun work at least, you know?
Oh yeah. Insane Freak says so hyped for new In Angles and Invalids. Why do both of your bands have N on the front of it? The front of the
I have no idea. I didn't pick the names for either. I just kind of fell into that. So
did you decide to be in them because it says N on the front of them?
Yes. It's a requirement.
So what's the best show you've played in a band?
Best? Are we talking like crowd?
Whatever you define as best. It could be like the biggest crowd. It could be like the best interaction you've had with the crowd. You know.
I mean, one of my favorite shows I ever played was like almost to no one, and it was on a tour where I was like, "Fucking nothing matters. I'm gonna play as hard as I can and like just have fun." And it was like a lot of fun, and it was like very cathartic, and like I needed it for sure. there's been a lot of cool basement shows like in this town that all the bands I'm in have done. Like the New Brunswick basement scene has like fostered like a lot of bands like came up here, like fucking Thursday Dead Guy was like a New Brunswick band. My Chem played here a lot, like Bouncing Souls. So there's like a cool history here. And like I've had a lot of sick fucking shows where it's like people packed in, everyone's like having a good hang. Arctangent was cool. Invalids played Arctangent in the UK.
That's sick.
That was a trip. We did a whole UK tour. It was wild because it was, we're playing. Arctangent was huge, but all the other shows are like maybe 100 to 200 cap rooms. That's sometimes less, cool. Sometimes like a practice space with like, and anything's cool, obviously. Like I'm no standard, but like we're road dogging it in the UK, so it's like road dogging in the US, but I don't have a phone. And I don't know. I don't think I brought this up. I have Crohn's disease, and it's like a stomach disease. And I got sick in the UK because I didn't not really sick where I needed to go to the hospital, but like I didn't know what to eat. I was just like getting wrecked by UK food all the time, like eating pretzels and like fucking tuna with mayonnaise and shit. So yeah, I don't know. Like the show, it was really awesome to go to the UK. I would do that so differently if I ever had to go again because I don't want to get sick. Then
I feel like most people would get wrecked by UK food. I'm just throwing that out there.
You didn't like it, dude. It sucks.
What's the worst show you've played?
Wait, can I tell a story? It's not a show. Invalids did Audio Tree. And
nice.
This goes back to it was really cool being there, but this goes back to me having Crohn's. This was like 4 years ago. It was the point where I was really sick. I was really fucking sick. I was also like microdosing acid too, and like eating fast food every day. And I think it like fucked my body up like tremendously. But I ate like a burrito on the way to Audio Tree. And then I was just throwing up all night. I had videos on my phone of my stomach like protruding out of my body. Like it looks like a hernia almost from my intestines being blocked. I'm like forcing myself to throw up. It sucked, dude. And then I had to like play Audio Tree. And like our friend Vanessa was there and she's like, dude, you looked gray like after playing. Like you could tell like you were sick. So like we did Audio Tree and like I'm like sick, like very sick. So that was probably the worst thing musically I ever had to do.
God damn, dude.
Because it's also like it was so much pressure, like, in hindsight, it was just like have fun and like be good. But like it was like this is the moment, Audio Tree, like we have to bring it. And like I'm like hurt. I watched a session. I watched it like a couple of years ago. And I was like, I'm hurting here. Like it's it sounds fine. People have said it sounds good, but I can just see it on my face. I'm like, why did I do that? So that was a rough one.
Man. Well, I mean, I was gonna ask what your worst show was, but I guess it's that then. Or do you have something that could beat that?
Worst show, maybe one time in Angles played Montreal. We drove to Montreal. We played to literally 2 or 3 people, like including the promoter, because I think Coheed was there that night, and also like we don't draw. At that point it was longer ago, so maybe now if we played it would be more. I don't fucking know, but again, it's DIY. We're not like hitting up like big promoters and get on these package tours. It's like it's hard to crack DIY as a band like that sounds like an Angles kind of. So we played to 2 or 3 people in Montreal in some kind of hall. I drove overnight from Montreal, like literally straight. I just fucking drove through the night. We got home like 7 a.m. I slept for 4 hours. Damn. We load our gear and amps and drums into a basement in New Brunswick. It's like fucking shitty and raining. We play in New Brunswick to maybe 5 people. So like those 2 shows back to back, dude, it was like disheartening. It was rough.
Insane Freak says my favorite In Angles show was when they played at an arcade in New York with Adventure and Kurt Travis. Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. That one. It was cool. We did a little. Kurt Travis took us out on tour. That was the first tour we did as a band.
Oh, nice.
Like he helped us a lot in the beginning, put our band on to people and shit. And that's awesome. We'll always like really appreciate him for that. But that was a fun tour for sure.
Oh yeah, man. Well, what's your we'll wrap this up with your album of the year. Album of the year that's not a Choke artist release.
I Insane Freak knows my answers already, but I really liked the new. I loved Ultra Pop, like really fucking cool record. I loved Glow On. album that came out last year I really liked was New Age Filth by Hail the Sun. It's like a post-hardcore album.
I've heard of the band name, but I don't think I've actually heard that release.
Dude, it's pretty good. I mean, it's not super heavy, but it's like at least post-hardcore, and they do it their own way, and it's shreddy enough and melodic enough where I really thought it was cool. I think it was like one of the best things that band's done. And especially for like that kind of music, I feel like it falls in this pigeonhole a lot of time where it's just like every band trying to sound like DGD or something. So they're a band that does their own thing. I really like that album. And then probably some ska albums too. Whatever Bad Time Records put out last year, I had in heavy rotation as well.
Bad Time Records gave you some good times.
Yeah, Good Time Records, baby.
Well, it's about all I had to talk about. Unless you had something else you wanted to bring up.
No, dude, this was awesome. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out, man. Where can people find you, and what are your links and stuff?
So Choke Artist NJ on social media. I have a drum YouTube and a drum Instagram that I'm like at least posting on semi-regularly now. Now that the Invalids album is done and like I can make music on my own again. Joe Scala drums. So check that out if you want to see me play the drums. Choke Artist NJ on Instagram and Twitter. And there's a website and all that, but it's all linked on the Instagram and Twitter, so you can find it through there.
Okay. And then you have Choke Artists on like all the different platforms. Invalids is on all the different platforms, and so is In Angles, except In Angles isn't on Facebook, right?
No, we are. Yeah.
Oh, you are? Okay. I couldn't find you to tag you. Okay. Well, there you go. As for me, drop my channel follow so you always know when I go live. You can also sub to get access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and other streaming services, as well as some exclusive emotes. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. YouTube folks, if you like the video, please drop a like, tickle the notification bell. Do not forget to subscribe. It's a great way to support me for free. Check out my music, The Sound That Is Creation, at soundthatiscreation.bandcamp.com. My new album, Boomers, Zoomers, Desperate Coomers, is out now. My next guest is, I didn't write it down on here. It's Hardcore Keem, music influencer, Twitch streamer. Join us this Sunday, the 16th. Yep, the 16th at 7 p.m. Central for the live cast. Thanks for being here, Joe. Hope you had a good time.
Dude, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for watching and listening.